Hello, Nikhil, Harsha, Mahati, Anagha. What are you doing? ఏం చేస్తున్నారు? Yes, you're eating breakfast. What's today's breakfast, Nikhil? Yes, it's a khichdi. You're eating khichdi. How do you make your mom khichdi? Yes, with grams, with vegetables. Your mom made it. You're eating khichdi. You're a good boy. One question to you, Nikhil. Where from we get these vegetables? Where from we get these grams, Nikhil? Harsha, tell me, what is the answer? Where from we get vegetables? Where from we get these grams? Yes, from plants. From plants we get these vegetables. From plants we get these grams. Yes, you are correct. So what is today's food for you? Khichdi. Is it tasty, Nikhil? Yes, it's tasty. Why do we eat food, Nikhil? ఎందుకు తింటాము? Yes, food gives us energy. Food helps us to grow. ఇంకేం చేస్తుంది? Food protects us from diseases. So we eat food. Okay. Do we eat only plants, Nikhil? Or do we eat any other things? Think it. Think over it once. Yes, you're correct. We eat chicken, we eat mutton, yes. So we eat animal food also. You're correct. So what's the relationship among us on this eating of food, Nikhil? So we learn it in today's class. So what's today's topic, Nikhil? Yes, it's a food chain. It's about food web. Do we go to the topic? Do we get started? Yes, let's get started. We go for the next picture. Look at the picture, Nikhil. What is there? There is sun. There is a plant. Yes, plants grow. You said in the last class, plants are living things. So how do plants live? How do plants grow? Plants also living things means they need food, no? How do they take food? Do they prepare themselves or do they depend on others? అవే తయారు చేసుకుంటాయా ఇంకోళ్ళ మీద డిపెండ్ అవుతాయా? What's about it, Nikhil? Okay, look at the picture. You will get the answer. Look at the picture. There is a sun. There is the sun. Plant gets sunlight from the sun. What is it? It's atmosphere. Plants get carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Then here on the ground there is soil. There is soil. Plants get water from the soil. Plants get minerals also from the soil. What's the color of the leaves, Nikhil? Yes, you're correct. They are green in color. Why? Why are the leaves green? Yes, it has a pigment called chlorophyll. You see one thing here. In the presence of sunlight, in the presence of a chlorophyll pigment, what do the plants do? ఏం చేస్తాయి అవి? They combine carbon dioxide with water and prepare food. That food is taken by us. We eat that food. Plants take that food. Using that food, plants grow, plants live, and let us live. అవి బ్రతుకుతాయి, మనల్ని కూడా బ్రతికిస్తున్నాయి. So plants are producers. We can call them producers. కదా? ఏమని పిలవచ్చు? We can call them producers because they're producing food, no? Yes. Firstly, who is the source of this energy? Okay. Look at the picture and say, who is the main source of energy? Sun. The sun. Sun is the main source of energy. Plants prepare food from the sunlight. No? Yes. We eat that food. We also get energy. So sunlight is the main source of energy, and plants are preparing food. We eat that food and we are getting energy. That's about this picture. Have you understood, Nikhil? What are plants? How are they preparing food? What's the benefit of that food? Yes. Plants live with that food and plants let us live with this food. Yes. Do we go for the next picture? అందుకే కదా మనం we are calling plants producers. Yes. Are we producers, Nikhil? Can we produce food, Nikhil? మనం తయారు చేయగలుగుతామా? No, we can't. We eat this plant food, but we can't produce. అందుకే మనల్ని ఏమని పిలవచ్చు? What can we be called? We are consumers. Yes, plants are producers. We are consumers. Do we go for the next picture? Look at the picture. Who is there? There is sun. There are plants. Deer, tiger. There is a certain relationship between these, no? Who is the source of energy here, Nikhil? Sun is the source of energy. Who is taking that energy? Plant is taking that energy. Why for? ఎందుకు తీసుకుంటుంది ఆ ఎనర్జీని? To prepare food. అవునా? Plants prepare food with that energy, with that sunlight. Kada? Then here, who is the first animal here? Deer. Deer is an animal. What does deer do? What's the food of deer? Deer ఏం తింటుంది? Deer eats plants and grow. So, can deer produce a food? అది తయారు చేస్తుందా? No. Like us, మనలాగే it can only consume. కాబట్టి ఇట్స్ ఆల్సో ఏ కన్స్యూమర్. అది కూడా కన్స్యూమరే కదా? అయితే దర్ ఇస్ అ ప్రైమరీ కన్స్యూమర్. It eats plants. It doesn't eat animals. It eats plants only. అందుకే what can we call it? We can call it primary consumer. Look at the next picture. Who is it? There's a tiger. What's the food of tiger? What does the tiger eat? Tiger ఏం తింటుంది? Tiger eats other animals like deer. No? Cattle, deer. Like that, it eats other animals, horse, etc. Does the tiger eat plants? Plants tintunda? No, it doesn't. Tiger eats only animals. It consumes animal food only. It doesn't eat plant food. It consumes only animal food. So what can we call the tiger? Is it the primary consumer or the secondary consumer? Yes, it's the secondary consumer. You're correct. Now, what's the relationship? It's a chain-like relationship, no? It's a chain-like relationship. So, what can we call it? Even chappachu dinni. We can call it a food chain. What can we call it? Food chain. Food chain starts with the sun. Then, from the sun, this chain starts with mainly with the plants. Plant is the producer. Deer eats plants. Deer is the primary consumer. Tiger eats deer. So tiger is the secondary consumer. So this is a food chain. So what can food chain say to us? Em chebutundi? What does it say? It's in a sequence, no? It's like a chain. The relationship is like a chain. It's in a sequence. Okay, వరుసగా ఉంది కదా? So the process of who eats who is a food chain. So what's the food chain, Nikhil? Food chain అంటే ఏంటి చెప్పు? The sequence means it's in sequence. The sequence of who eats who is a food chain. Okay, that's the food chain. What happens in the food chain, Nikhil? ఏమవుతుంది food chain లో? Food means energy. Food means energy. Here sunlight is in the plants. So when we eat plants, we get energy. Deer gets energy from plants. Tiger gets energy from deer. So what's in food? Food lo ఏముంటుంది? Energy. Food is the other form of energy. Food and energy kada. So energy is transferred from one organism to another organism through the food. Kada? Who is the first source of energy? Sun. Sun is the first source of energy. Plants prepare food. So this energy is transferred from plants to deer, from deer to tiger. So this energy is being transferred from one organism to another organism. ఏ రూపంలో వస్తుంది energy? In the form of food. So this flow of energy is called energy flow. No? This is called energy flow. So what happens? Energy flows in the food chain from one organism to another organism. So now tell me, what's the food chain? Food chain అంటే ఏంటి చెప్పు? It's in a sequence kada. Here it's in a straight line. Straight ga undi kada sequence. So the sequence of who eats whom is called a food chain. Kada? How is the food chain here? Elagundamma? It's in a sequence. It's not branched. But sometimes it's a branched. Branched food chains also are there. But here it is in a sequence. Kada? Next point. What happens in the food chain? ఏమవుతుందమ్మా food chain లో? In the form of food. Food రూపంలో. Food అంటే ఏంటిది? We get energy from food కదా? In the form of food, energy is transferred from one organism to another organism. From plants to deer, from deer to tiger. So, energy flow occurs in the food chain. ఏమవుతుందమ్మా? Energy flow occurs in the food chain. That way, our world exists. మనం మనగలుగుతున్నాము. Yes. Do we go for the next picture? Look here. Here, many food chains are there. See, food chain is here, branched. Firstly, who is the source of energy? Sun is the source of energy. Plants are preparing food. In the first food chain, who is eating plants? Ever తింటున్నారు? Grasshopper is eating plants. So grasshopper is the primary consumer. Who is eating the grasshopper? Then ever తింటున్నారు? Frog. So frog is the secondary consumer. And one more animal is there. What's the third animal that is eating? Yes, that's the crow. What does the crow eat? ఇక్కడ ఏం తింటుందమ్మా? What's the crow eating? Here the crow is eating a frog. So crow is the tertiary consumer. No? Plants are producers. Here primary consumer is there. Secondary consumer is there. Then tertiary consumer is there. And consumers higher than this third level come under higher order consumers amma. With third level that మిగతా వాళ్ళు ఏమని పిలవాలి? Higher order consumers. Okay, that's not given in our textbook. Yours at a school level now. Next, here. Look here, the decomposers. Decomposers means fungus, bacteria, like microorganisms. They are decomposers. What do these decomposers do? ఏం చేస్తాయమ్మా ఇవి? Like the crow laga decomposers kuda. What do they do? They decompose. They decompose dead food. They decompose waste food. And they break down food substances. They break the food substances. They break complex molecules into simple molecules. They break down the food. That means they break down proteins, carbohydrates, fats, and change them into simple molecules like elements. carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen, methane, like it. So they break down complex molecules and change them into simple molecules. That means they're decomposing, and that way they're scavenging the environment. They're cleaning the environment. So we can also call them scavengers. Here crow also acts as a scavenger. Crow kuda scavenger laga panchestundi kada. Decomposers also are doing this job. So we can call decomposers mainly crow scavenger. Here decomposers. This bacteria, fungus like organisms are also scavenging. So when we call the crow a scavenger, crow a scavenger అని పిలిచినప్పుడు what can we call this decompose? వీటిని ఏమని పిలవచ్చు? Bacteria, fungus like these organisms, detritus. What can we call them? Detritus. Detritus means they break down complex molecules and change them into simple molecules. And that way they are cleaning the environment and mix the material with the soil. మట్టిలో కలిపిస్తాయి dead food ni, waste food ni. So when we crow also does the same thing. When crows also in the same way clean the environment. When we call the crow a scavenger, then scavenger అని పిలుద్దాం. They're scavenging the environment. Here, what can we call decompose? వీటిని ఏమని పిలవచ్చమా మనము? We can call them detritus because they come under microorganisms. అవి కంటికి కనిపించని సూక్ష్మజీవుల కిందకి వస్తాయి కదా. So we can call them detritus. Here, food chain is branched. No? Frog. This decomposers, frog. Decomposers, crow. Decomposers, grasshopper. Decomposers, plant. Like this also chain goes. In frog days, frog చనిపోతే ఏమవుతుంది? Decomposers అంటే these microorganisms decompose its body and change it into simple molecules. That's a food chain. Plants, frog, detritus. That's one food chain. And frog. In crow days, what happens? Crow చచ్చిపోతే ఏమవుతుంది? The decomposers decompose its body and change them into simple molecules. Then what can be the food chain? Plant, grasshopper, frog, crow, detritus. When grasshopper dies, the same thing happens. And how will be the food chain? Plant, grasshopper, detritus. లేకపోతే plant, grasshopper, frog, detritus. That way, food chain starts with the plants and ends with the detritus. No? Here, food chain is branched. How can the food chain go? ఎలా వెళ్ళొచ్చు? Plant, grasshopper, detritus. Again, it can be cycled. Then second food chain, plant, grasshopper, frog, detritus. Then what can the other food chain be? Plant, grasshopper, frog, crow, detritus. No? So here, anyway it can go. Here food chain is branched. So here we can call this kind of food chain branched food chain, or it's like a web. We can also call it a food web. Energy is being transferred, energy is flowing in this food chain. So who is the primary consumer here? First of all, who is the producer? Producer evaramma? Plant is the producer. Who is the primary consumer? Grasshopper. Secondary consumer? Frog. Tertiary consumer? Crow. Then decomposers. So these consumers higher than the crow come under higher order consumers. No? This is about the food chain. So energy from the plant goes to grasshopper. From the grasshopper goes to frog. From the frog goes to crow. From the crow to detritus and decomposers. That way energy recycles. No? This is about energy flow. This is about food chain. So what's the food chain? Food chain ante entamma? The sequence of who eats whom is called a food chain. Here, how is the food chain? Ela undi ikkada? It's in a sequence and it's also branched. Branched cheppochu. It's in a sequence and cheppochu. No? So through the food chain, ఏమవుతుంది? Energy flows. Energy flow అవుతుంది కదా. Then who is the first source of energy? Sunlight. So this sunlight, this light energy. Sunlight ante which energy? What kind of energy? This light energy is transferred from the sun to plant. From plant to grasshopper. From grasshopper to frog. From frog to crow. Then from any of these, when they are dead, when they are rotten, energy goes to decomposers. What came directly decomposers act on them and mixes them with the soil. This way energy flows. That's about the energy flow. Do we go for the next picture? Look at this picture. We can see here many food chains, no? What are the plants? Food chain starts with the plant. Plants start అవుతుంది. One way, who are eating plants? Goat. Who are eating goat? Jackal. Who are eating the jackal? Lion. This is one food chain. We come here. Plants. Who is eating plants? Rabbit. Who is eating the rabbit? Cat. Who is eating the cat? Lion. This is one food chain. And here, come down. Mouse is there. Mouse eats the plants. Mouse eats the food material. For mouse eats seeds, no? Fruits, like it. Mouse. Who is eating mouse? Owl. Who is eating? Here, food chain is ending with the owl. And here, come here. Kite. Plants, mouse, then snake, then kite. This is one food chain. Snake eats mouse. Snake ఎలుకని తింటుంది కదా, మత్తెక్కి పడుకుంటుంది బాగా ఎలుకని తిన్నప్పుడు it gets its stomach full, but నిండిపోతుంది, మత్తెక్కి పడుకుంటుంది, కదలదిక. So snakes like mice. Here who is eating the snake? Kite is eating. This is one food chain. But these food chains are related to each other, chudandamma. Food chain may go from plant to goat. Goat nunchi it may go to, what will happen? Jackal is there, lion is there. This is also rabbit, cat, lion. Jackal eats rabbit also kada. Jackal rabbit ni kuda tintundi kada. That way also food chain goes kada. And here also this way also it may go. Goat, jackal, lion, kite, snake, like this also it may go. No? So here food chain is branched. These food chains are related to each other. బాగా related అయ్యాయి కదా. So these animals depend on each other. ఒకదాని మీద depend అయి ఉంటాయి. If lion doesn't eat cat, తినకపోతే ఏమవుతుందమ్మా? Cats population grows. Cats ఎక్కువైపోతాయి. If cats don't eat rabbit తినకపోతే ఏమవుతుంది? Rabbit's population grows. Rabbit population ఎక్కువైపోతుంది. Then cows, sheep can't get many plants. So if one animal doesn't eat another animal, ఒక animal ఇంకో animal తినకపోతే ఏమవుతుంది? That animal's population grows. దాని జనాభా పెరిగిపోతుంది. Then it harms the population of other animals. మిగతా animals కదా దెబ్బ కదా. So when one animal eats another animal, that way population is balanced. That way balance in nature happens. ఆ విధంగా బ్యాలెన్స్ ఈజ్ మెయింటైన్. బ్యాలెన్స్ ఈజ్ మెయింటైన్. No? That's about nature. Yes. So here food chain is branched. It's connected like a web. Web laga connected, no? So what can we call it? Food web. Even పిలవచ్చు దీన్ని. We can call it food web. So this is about food web. So through this food chain, through this food web, energy is being transferred from one organism to another organism. That way we are in life. That way we are living on this planet. If we don't eat another animal, if we don't eat another plant, తినకపోతే we can't live. Balance in nature cannot be maintained. Balance ఉండదు కదా. Do we go for the next picture? Look here. What are these? Into my way ants. What are ants? అవి కూడా animals like us కదా. What are ants doing here? ఏం చేస్తున్నాయి? They are carrying leaves. Ants are great workers అమ్మ. ఎప్పుడు పనిచేస్తుంటాయి. So it teaches us how to work. It teaches us how to live. They grow in a line. They go in a line. వరుసగా పోతాయి. They maintain discipline also. So they teach discipline to us. They teach work. They teach work. How to work, what to work. They teach us. See here, they're carrying leaves. What for? ఎందుకు మోసుకుపోతున్నాయి? With then they cut these leaves into pieces and they make a bed. అప్పుడు ఆకులోంచి a kind of fungus grows. Fungus పెరుగుతుంది. Then these ants eat that as a food. Food గా తినేస్తాయి. We human beings, mainly our farmers, what do we do? మనం ఏం చేస్తాము? We keep cows, cattle. ఎందుకోసం? For milk. మనలాగే ఈ ants కూడా they keep aphids. They keep aphids. Aphids ని పెంచుతాయమ్మా. What for? For honeydew. For honeydew. They store these broken leaves. They make bed with these leaves. What for? For fungus. They ate this honeydew. What is honeydew? Honeydew ante entama? It's a substance. Honey like a substance. They ate it. What is this fungus? With from leaves fungus develops kada. What do they do with this fungus? Fungus em chustayi? It is also a substance. A fungus kuda oka substance. Ants ate that fungus. So ants ate honeydew. ఎక్కడి నుంచి వస్తుందమ్మా? They keep aphids and have fun and have honeydew. What do they do with these leaves? Leaves ఏం చూస్తాయి? They make a bed and they let a kind of fungus grow. Fungus వస్తుంది. They eat this fungus. Yes. So there are male ants, there are female ants, there are worker ants, no? The soldiers. So they are good teachers for us. They teach many things to us. How to maintain discipline, what kind of culture we can have, work culture. They teach work culture to us. So ants are great teachers. We have to learn many things from ants. Okay, this is about ants. Look at ants and learn discipline from ants. Learn how to work, what to work from ants. How to get rid of our laziness. సోమర్థనం ఎలా వదిలించుకోవాలో కూడా learn from this ants and kill. We have to work to live. Yes. So we can have them as teachers. No? They're great teachers. Yes. This is a word. Nikhil, what did you learn in this class? ఏం నేర్చుకున్నావమ్మా? Food chain. What's the food chain? A sequence of who eats whom. Through the food chain, what happens, Nikhil? ఏమవుతుంది? Energy flows from one organism to another organism. So what happens in the food chain? ఏమవుతుంది? Energy flow occurs. Energy flow takes place. What are these, Nikhil? ఏంటివి ఇవి? Ants. What do you learn from ants, Nikhil? ఏం నేర్చుకుంటావు ants నుంచి? Work culture. They teach us what to work, how to work. They teach us discipline. They teach us how to get rid of our laziness. సోమర్థనం ఎలా వదిలించుకోవాలి అవి చెబుతాయి కదా మనకు. So like this ants, Nikhil, try to work. Don't be lazy. Have discipline. Try to learn one or two things. Try to learn more like ants. Okay. Thank you for listening.